worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends. Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream? Always so generic, more normal than your friends. Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can't sleep easy after all that you've heard. Cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all. It's Canon with Tyler, Phil, and Boris. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all in Canon.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the It's Canon podcast. That's the show where we chat about all things movies, video games, comic books, Lego, Star Wars, anything and everything in the world of pop culture and geek. And the best part of it all is that it's all in canon. We're your hosts. I'm Boris. And as always, I am joined by Phil.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? I see that we have been gifted with the second shot at recording the beginning of the show. Technical difficulties are fun.
They really are. They really are. But yeah, it's yeah.
We hope this works,
I don't know,
people.
Yeah, and it's because of this fan. This is the fan. Actually, I saw that it was just like something. I don't know what was recording, where it was picking it up from, but doesn't matter. Point is, we're here. We're back here on the It's Canon podcast, Phil. So first thing I wanted to talk about is I know that we were off last week. Things happened, family stuff, medical stuff. It's all good. But I wanted to talk about our summer schedule as we get things started. Summertime, things slow down. The news cycle slows down. We know that there are some big stuff, but this is what we're going to be doing in the summer. So from June all the way until Labor Day, we're going to be having one episode every 2 weeks. We're going to be, giving you the news, opinions, shoot the shit, eventually talk about our topic du jour. And that's going to happen once every 2 weeks, live on X, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you can watch us, and also on your favorite podcasting app. All you need to do is go to, well, if you're listening to this episode, you're clearly listening to the podcast. But point is, subscribe, leave a review. And then,
yes, amen.
Between each of the 2 weeks, if we're feeling up for it, if something big comes out like Deadpool v Wolverine and shit like that, well, we'll do a special. That's what we're going to do throughout the summer. We don't have much of a summer here, the nice weather, so we're going to try to enjoy this summer. We're going to be realistic about our schedules. And, yeah, man, we're not spring chickens, so we're going to enjoy our time that we have. And that's what we're gonna do once every 2 weeks here on the It's Canon podcast with the special sprinkled in like oregano on your favorite pasta.
Oregano, love it. No, and it truly is. Like, I know a lot of people in the northern eastern part of the states has somewhat similar climate, but it is warmer there than it is here, and we kind of go from winter to summer, and then the window closes just as quick and you're back into, I think it's a little too cool to be outside tonight. So we're going to try and do our best to adhere to the schedule and enjoy ourselves a little bit. And we were talking earlier about Deadpool 3 being a big summer draw, and it might be one that gets me to go back to the theater. We shall see. It'll be
dank and moist theaters. There you go. Phil is hopefully going to be making a return. Like I was saying earlier, the best times, honestly, even for me, like if it's a movie that I just want to watch for the sake of watching, if it's a movie that I'll watch for this show, I'll watch it alone. I don't give a shit about watching movies alone.
Oh yeah.
I'll happily, go in the afternoon, go to a regular theater, no 3D, no IMAX, no 4D, no triple X, whatever it is, just a regular good old movie theater with a regular screen. And more often than not, even on opening day, a huge hit like Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be quite empty. Hell, that's how I watched the last Star Wars movie. What the fuck was it called? I know we just said the name like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgettable
that
film.
masterpiece. That masterpiece that surely gave Kathleen Kennedy a few million in bonuses.
Yeah, you know what? It really. I've sat down recently and tried okay, I don't hate that movie as much as some people. I'm definitely not as thrilled with The Last Jedi as probably most of our audience knows. But Rise of Skywalker was a mess for many reasons. And honest to goodness, every time I rewatch it, I figure out something new that pisses me off with it. And it's just, it's paying attention to it's you get overwhelmed sometimes with the visuals with Star Wars because there's so much action going on and you miss some of the dialogue or the underpinning of how they justify things to happen in the movie. And those are the things that I pick up on now when it's on Showcase or when I just turn it on and I'm like, oh, this is weak ass stuff. Like this is the most hobbled together story with the Emperor and
out of everything Star Wars I've ever seen, played, read, like anything, whatever. Any interaction I've had with Star Wars, that movie is my most hated by far.
Interesting. It certainly is low on my list. That's for sure.
Let me watch Obi-Wan tenfold before I watch that movie. Like I've only seen that movie once, Phil. Once.
Wow.
December, whatever the fuck it was, 2019.
It was. Yeah, you're right. It was less than stellar. Like, I just found
me. I don't shit on Star Wars much at all.
No, I know we try to avoid that, right? Star Wars is for everyone. Yeah. But that movie, in particular, the one thing that doesn't piss me off about it is that it had enough action that it felt like Star Wars to me. The movie that didn't feel like Star Wars to me, I watched it with my brother to verify this, and he being the original Star Wars head in the house, we watched The Last Jedi, and my brother just sat there, looked at me, and he said, that didn't feel like Star Wars. He just said, there's something different about this movie, but it doesn't hit me like Star Wars. Whereas Rise of Skywalker, I don't know if he's seen that. He might feel the same way. But Rise of Skywalker, it kind of felt like Star Wars because at least you had Star Destroyers. At least there was some really dumb shit, though.
Here's the thing about The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi, to me, they were trying something new. They were going in a new direction in Star Wars.
That's why I try not to criticize it.
It didn't stick with, the people who tried to gatekeep Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Whereas the Rise of Skywalker, from the very intro with the reintroduction of Palpatine out of the fucking blue, which I know they're going to do so much to try to shoehorn a canonized reason for it.
Yeah.
It just, it lost me right away. It lost me right the fuck away.
Yeah. It really was two directors fighting through film. One of them, in Rian Johnson, to his credit, was being progressive. And they gave him the keys and they said, do whatever the hell you want. It's very clear that J.J. Abrams wasn't happy with what was done. And then tried to put it back together like a broken egg. Like, it just doesn't work, buddy. But hey, you know what? Bad decisions, whatnot aside, I just feel like those two movies were part and parcel the beginning of the really truly divisive fan base divides. And that's why I'm trying to personally heal past that and get to know these films for the contribution that they brought to Star Wars and not dislike them just because I want to get on the internet and complain. Because that's not helping anybody. I don't think anybody's less of a Star Wars fan for liking or not liking The Last Jedi. You are all equal in my books. You are allowed a seat at the table. You are allowed to have your opinion. And I'm not going to argue something based off of bigotry or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to try to understand your point of view. And work on my own point of view, if that makes sense.
But only if more Star Wars fans, gatekeepers, can talk like that, right? Like the hate I've seen about something we're going to talk about a little later, The Acolyte, has been literally everything we said a few weeks ago about those gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. But we'll talk about that a little later. So that's the basic plan for the summer. Phil, what's going on in the world of Phil?
You know what? My geekdom is kind of quiet right now. I've just been really focused on real life things. Yeah. But I have had the chance to check out The Acolyte. I have been gaming a bit and playing around with that because I just FYI life update. I upgraded my internet, so I am enjoying actually being able to download games in a timely fashion. So it's not like I have to set up the PS5 or the Xbox and go to sleep and then wake up the next day and go, ooh, game, and try not to play it while I'm working, right? So I've got that licked, and it's just kind of fun to be able to just whimsically buy a game. But that being said, being old, and I know that you find this too, the games are hard. They have that increasingly difficult learning curve on some of them. And I just want to be entertained when I have time to game. I just want to sit down and either feel like I'm making a lot of progress or not having to grind for the whole 80 hours that the game's going to take and just be entertained. I thought Jedi Survivor was an excellent example of a game that was just long enough to keep me and action-packed to keep me on the leash. But, that being said, it was a good week for a lot of game showcases that I know we'll talk about, and a lot of interesting things. I think the most interesting, I took away some really weird Dark Horse likes out of what I saw out of these showcases and Summer Game Fest and all that. But I guess the biggest one that I'd love to talk about is Lego Horizon Zero Dawn. That one was a bit shocking, and all I can think of is looking at it, and they had the tall neck, which I do have that tall neck model, and I do have the minifigure Aloy with it. But man, some of the other monsters, some of the other creatures in it, look like they could be made in Lego. That could be a real model that it's based off of. So I'm kind of excited about the possibility of getting some more of these diorama type Horizon Zero Dawn figures, like the tall neck. That was a fantastic set and affordably priced because there wasn't the Star Wars tax on it, right? It was Horizon Zero Dawn tax, which is pennies a glass.
Yeah.
So I thought that game just looked fun. Honest to goodness. It kind of shocked me.
We'll talk more about Sony's State of Play, Xbox Showcase, and The Acolyte a little later. Netflix, have you watched Godzilla Minus One?
Yes. It was fantastic.
Right?
I loved it.
Holy fuck. It was
that's the way a movie should be made.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's the way a movie should be made. Honest to goodness, it had me compelled all the way through it. Long lead in, great ending. I still have to rewatch it because the last little bit I kind of strayed just due to personal situation. But it really surprised me because it came out that it was going to be on Netflix, and then they said, well, it's going to be on Netflix everywhere but North America. And I'm like, how do we get screwed out of this? And so I went angrily to Google and bought the movie on 4K, which I don't regret at all. To be honest, with movies like that, I want them to have my money if they're going to know that it supported their project. You know what I mean? Make more shit like that and get it in front of our eyes.
Here's the thing, right? If you can't go to the theaters, you might as well support them.
Yeah.
That way.
Exactly. The problem that I have is that there's a lot of shithead people on Amazon that are getting a Blu-ray rip of Godzilla Minus One from a theater and trying to sell it off as a retail package. And it's just disgusting. Like, Amazon's really got to crack down on some of this crap.
Not to divert our conversation, let's put a pin on Godzilla Minus One. But you bring up a fucking great. I don't know why I'm swearing so much. Probably because of all the pain my body's in. Amazon's turning into a fucking cesspool.
Yeah, it's as bad as when you go on to. I had to explain this to my father because he's like, "We'll just go into Best Buy and blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Dad, the Best Buy online marketplace is full of shit. It's all like when you get past the few Best Buy things, it's all resellers that are selling refurbished product and garbage because the reviews are out and people are like, this is garbage. And they tried to go after Walmart and Best Buy and these other retailers, but Amazon is a cesspool. And I don't know if it has anything to do with Temu being in the North American marketplace.
Dude, but yeah, I don't know what sorry, to me I just don't understand because like Temu, I do not trust them whatsoever.
No, I won't.
And the worst part is, have you noticed your social media feed? My social media feed is every second ad is Temu at this point.
I literally get on Twitter. I will call it Twitter because it's Twitter. I get 6 ads in a row for Temu. Like, I'm so disgusted by it. And I'm also very careful. Like, the only good thing about Amazon is that you can complain and they instantly refund your money. Because
that's one thing. Because they know what's going on, right? But they don't want to do anything about it. Because most people will not go through the hassle of making the return.
Exactly. Like, my story about the Infinity Gauntlet.
I was literally going to bring that up. Right? Yeah. Like, that's on the forefront every time I think of how shit Amazon is turning. But, like, it's a real cesspool right now.
They pictured the Hasbro Infinity Gauntlet box. They sent me a bag from China that had a rubber glove with Infinity Stones glued onto it and a little power light in it. And it stunk to high hell. It reeked up my whole house. It smelled like ass. So, and I called in to, I had to eat it with Amazon in terms of eating my own pride here. Like, I was just so embarrassed because I'm like, I know I'm a man.
Got.
Yeah. And I'm like, I bought this thing. It's not that thing. Here's a picture of it. And they're like, oh my God. And then they're just like, okay, we're going to shut down the seller. But I don't know how many people bother.
That's what I mean. That's my whole point.
Conclusive proof. You have to go through, review the settings, hope that the seller didn't change the original dupe post.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing, because there'd be a gotcha moment where they're like, well, it says clearly here that this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, no, I got them. So, and I've got them I refuse to buy clothing from Amazon by and large. I say that while I'm wearing an Amazon Fraggle Rock t-shirt, but
I'll buy track pants, shit like that, but not like t-shirts, graphic tees or shit like that.
I don't mind the graphic tees. I hear you on the pants and stuff, but I just have to see true to fit. If it's not true to fit, if it's a foreign fit, don't go there. Because like I literally will look at a jacket and I'm like a men's medium at the time in Canada, and it would sit there and say, well, I need to order a 4XL of this jacket for it to fit. And I'm like, who are you making these for? Are they children? Mm-hmm. Like it's unbelievable. And then you get it and it still doesn't fit. And then the seller will refuse to take it back. They make you send it to a weird spot like Orangeville or something. And and then I'm just pursuing Amazon the whole time. I want my shipping costs reimbursed. I want this. I want that. I want this. I'm really, really cheap when it comes to if Amazon gets away with something. I'm like, nope, we're done here. Not going to happen. So that's kind of my outlook. And I encourage everybody else to do the same. If you get ripped off, you're paying for a membership. utilize it. And as well, something they don't like telling you. Maybe I've graduated to the super spender on Amazon though, because I do order a lot because it saves me from having to run out. But one thing that you can do is ask them to pick it up, and they will send a guy to your house to pick it up. They no longer will make you go to the post office. They're like, we'll have a driver there in a day. And that's it. He calls you and he tells you, okay, I'm 1 block away. I'll be there any minute. Please meet me up front. No problem, buddy. Here you go. Take that stinky thing away.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, Godzilla Minus One. Good movie. Great movie. If you haven't watched it, go out of your way. Hit pause. Go watch that motherfucking thing. Come back to us and finish listening to this episode.
Yeah, you'll thank us. Believe me. It's
really good. It's really good.
Just stellar. I was really shocked with just how mundane the story appeared, how compelling it was, and how it showed me a lot of Japanese culture. I understood some of the shame that the guy felt and whatnot. It was really interesting to see how it all framed around World War II and everything. I thought that was just brilliant. Just a great.
Yeah, I really did. I just love the storytelling, right? Like that was my major takeaway from that, and just was an awesome Godzilla movie. Much better than Kong X-Zilla or whatever the fuck it was called.
It's better than these Monarch things, and I genuinely enjoy Monarch.
I like Monarch, to be honest. To me that's a whole separate world, which it is, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not true to form Godzilla.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hot take on it, so I totally get you. It's
but like, I did like Monarch. I really did like that show a lot on Apple.
Yeah, I think that the casting on that show was fantastic. I found the budgeting was very good. It looked like a very high quality. Like, everything was a hit for me. So do yourself a favor and check that out too. It makes the Godzilla movies, the other ones, a little more bearable, the ones that are in that universe, because that's all related to the theater runs. So
yeah,
and the King Kong movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun.
There you go.
Fun stuff.
There you go.
Monster
The Boys
movie.
comes out this week, season 4.
Oh.
They've announced today that season 5 will be the final season. If the show has the same ending as the comic, I'm just gonna say bravo.
I'm hoping I haven't finished the comic. I'm hoping it does from the sounds of it, but they're like, Amazon's track record is getting pretty good on these shows, right? Like
Fallout
is the biggest late thing that stands out to me about just sticking the landing. So, Upload didn't really stick for me.
First season did.
First season was great. After that, it was really
second season.
Yeah,
they you know what it is? It's like they've ran out of ideas. Like, it's kind of like Musician, right? Where that first CD sometimes is so good because they spent their entire time writing this, and then they're rushed to do more content, and then, well, that's that.
Yeah, trying to catch lightning in the bottle, right? It's like, you gotta be genuine, you gotta be creative, and you gotta express yourself and take the creative time. And when these showrunners charge, unfortunately, I'm gonna sound like I'm taking a dunk on it, but it was far from my favorite Marvel show. But you get She-Hulk. So it's just it's just another show. Or Hawkeye. That one.
I didn't mind Hawkeye.
Hawkeye was okay. I like Echo. But Marvel have single-handedly lost me on a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping Deadpool 3 is the thing that pulls me back. Right? I can't even bring myself to watch Loki season 2, and I liked Loki. So
Loki season 2 was good.
I've heard that. Yeah, I'm curious to go back and see it. But I just feel like I know what's going on with the Timekeepers, right? I'm just like, I know what purpose they serve in the Marvel universe at this point and how they fit in cinematically. So it's not hard to see how they're going to bring together the different timelines in Deadpool 3 or Deadpool versus Wolverine, that type of thing. So I'm looking forward to it. Don't want to.
No, I totally hear you, man. So Boys comes out this week. Well, I feel like there's a lot coming out over the next few weeks. You can't,
the new Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon comes out Sunday.
And then, there are a few notable summer, but that's a window for TV and movies, right? Is the summer window. Like I was saying on our other take, the fall is going to be more the video game release window, right? It's summer is typically pretty quiet on the video game front. So it's the showcase time of year is all done. E3, that's not called E3 anymore. All done. Even Ubisoft showed some video games yesterday, like Star Wars Outlaws. They had a 12-minute game release footage, which was interesting. I don't know. I'm really still mad at Ubisoft.
I know you are.
I'm
speaking of movies and stuff, I don't know. One movie I'm really looking forward to in the summer is Alien Romulus.
Yes, that. You know what? That is not a movie theater movie for me because I'm gonna shit my pants because it's horror, and I'm not. I have a really weird relationship to horror sci-fi. Love sci-fi, not a big fan of the horror, but when you put horror and sci-fi together, somehow I get through it. But it might be with my eyes closed.
Dead Space.
Yeah, Dead Space, the video game. Oh man, that was so great. But that's not my genre of game, and yet I played Dead Space, Dead Space 2, 3. I plowed through those games and the remake. So it's kind of creepy. But Romulus does look legit. I enjoyed Prometheus and all that kind of stuff.
I loved it.
Yeah. It's added texture.
So I don't know what I'm saying. I do apologize for that. Sweet Tooth, have you seen the new season?
I started watching it. I didn't finish it though. But I know it exists, so that's a good reminder too, because season 1 was just awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Was season 2 any good?
I did watch. Sorry?
Was season 2 of Sweet Tooth any good?
Yeah, I liked it.
Good. Okay.
Out of Range, we talked about this last time. Fuck, it's a good show.
It's got legs, man. I'm telling you. It's got legs. I'm still working through it, but man, oh man, it's just got enough compelling things to watch. And it's one of those things like horror movies. I'm not into like murder mystery dramas at all, but this one has me like, where the hell are they going to go with this? And Josh Brolin and the cast do a great job. Great job. It's another prime hit.
The Bear comes out later this month. That's something I'm really looking forward to. Season 3 of The Bear, June 27th, I think.
Oh, I haven't even watched The Bear. I've heard good things about it.
Good.
I have to check
watch it. Your blood pressure might rise, but watch it.
I have pills for that.
Exactly. Got pills for everything.
That's what
putting stuff up, putting stuff down. Show that.
What are we talking about?
I don't even know what we're talking about. A show that I really did like, or that I am liking. It's on HBO right now. Robert Downey Jr. is just so fucking good in it, and that's The Sympathizer.
Well, I've seen the ads for that. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is really killing it. I loved him in Oppenheimer. Like that was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, he was fucking great in it, man.
He really took the show. Like he stole the show when he was on screen. I was very, very impressed with his range. So good for him. I heard he might be coming back as Tony Stark. We'll see.
Yeah. Dark Matter. Have you watched Dark Matter?
No, I've heard about it. That's Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's your girl, Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, I've the topic looks like it's gonna make my blood pressure go a little wonky. Like I'm not sure if it's my type of movie, but man, every time Jennifer Connelly I see her, I go, I kind of want to watch that. It's what was the fact that I did? Oh, did you watch?
Did I watch what?
Ron Howard, Jim Henson documentary.
I didn't, but I've heard amazing things about it. I've been wanting to ask you about it, but I wanted to ask you on the show.
Yeah, it surprised me. It's a little light in sections.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go as deep, but I've also read his autobiography. I've heard that there's a YouTube channel that has a multi-part documentary that people claim put it to shame. But I have to check that out too. And it's the YouTuber's name is Defunct Land. So that he's got something out that's supposed to be good. But it was really interesting because they did interview Jennifer Connelly. They did interview Frank Oz. They did interview a lot of the main people. And there was a stat in what Jennifer Connelly talked about that kind of surprised me. And that was, and I have to go back and watch this because I literally shook my head like, no way. But for some of that movie Labyrinth, she was only 14.
Yeah.
Like that, I just can't believe that she'd landed that role as a 14-year-old. Like, good for her. Like, man, I always thought she was like 18 or 19 in that. So,
no, man. No. Speaking of Jennifer Connelly, I cannot wait for Snowpiercer to come back. We thought it was dead. We thought it was over.
The final season.
Well, who picked it up? AMC?
I think so, yeah. So that'll be straight on to Netflix, I'm sure.
AMC Plus.
There we go. Good on him, man. That show had me. You and me were like right into that one.
It's one of the few shows that I would wait Monday, 3 a.m. Or Tuesday morning, 3 a.m., I should say.
That's what we're doing after this show is watching The Acolyte. So I think the shows drop at 9 on Tuesday night here.
That's literally what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so let's talk about The Acolyte. Star Wars The Acolyte episodes 1 and 2 dropped. Disney was so kind to send me up to episode 4.
Ooh.
Haven't seen them yet.
Good for you.
Thank you, Disney.
A little restraint.
Thanks, Mickey Mouse, for all the hard work that you do in bringing us this fine Star Wars content. But honestly, all joking aside, what you think of the episodes? Number 1, I'm trying not to go into spoilers.
I think we're going to have to go into a little bit. Like, we're only talking about the first 2 episodes, and we're a week out. So I don't want to go deep into spoilers, but we can scrape.
How? What? I thought we were watching Scream for a second. You know exactly what I mean by that.
No. What did I miss? I didn't miss anything. I was like right there enjoying it.
The opening scene of Scream? The first one?
I've never watched Scream.
Oh, you fucking moron.
It's a horror movie. But Nev Campbell's
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What?
Nev Campbell's in that?
Yeah, that's the one.
That would be the only reason why I'd watch it.
And Drew Barrymore. Okay, so here's the thing about Scream, the first Scream movie. Drew Barrymore was in all the posters, all the advertisements. She was said to be like, you thought she was going to be the main star.
She gets killed,
and she gets killed in the first scene.
I got you. All right. Interesting. Yeah, the Carrie-Anne Moss. That wasn't hard to figure out because they kept on showing the one fight.
The same. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no point getting too amped about Carrie-Anne Moss being in this because it's pretty clear. And then somebody leaked it on the internet that the bloody lightsaber on the poster looks exactly like hers. So once they saw the lightsaber, it was like, oh, it's done. Like, okay, don't get upset. So,
anyways, but yeah,
there's our spoiler.
What did you think of it? What did you think of it?
Honestly, I like it. I like it a lot.
I love it, dude. I'm loving this because it's the furthest removed from the Skywalkers as you could possibly be right now.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
based on that alone, I love that. I love the fact that I shouldn't like I don't want to guarantee this because it is Star Wars, but I feel like this will have nothing to do with the Skywalker saga in any shape or form. And anything that comes out of this show won't affect anything of the Skywalker saga. That's what I'm hoping. And that's why I like it.
Safe on that. I think you're safe on that. They've already stated, because of the timelines, there's not going to be any major significant cameos or anything. They're not going to pop Yoda in like, younger I am. You know what I mean? Like none of that shit. Because they are in a little bit of a conundrum here. And that is in the Phantom Menace. It's very clearly stated in the prequels that no one's seen a red lightsaber in a very long time, like a 1,000 years. And this falls within that 1,000 years. It's way before, but it falls within that. The High Republic is in that 1,000 years. So if there is a red lightsaber, and we kind of know there is, it's everybody who sees it has to die. Is kind of the thought process about how this show is going to be constructed, which I'm okay with, right? They ballsed up and they did it in Rogue One, so I don't know why they can't do it in something like The Acolyte and do some careful walking around certain points. It can be done. But the biggest thing that I love about The Acolyte, aside from getting something fresh that is not the Skywalker saga, which you have a very good point, it's that it's made it so easy to block content on YouTube for me. If I see another man, baby, girl, anybody complaining about the wokeness or the gayness of Star Wars because of The Acolyte, bye-bye. Not ever going to watch your content. Thanks, but no thanks. If you have a legitimate issue with the show and you want to sit there and say, it's not my favorite because of this, as long as it's not because gay people are indicated or it's too woke for me or some crap like that, I'm done. I'm not even giving you a chance. If you want to talk about the merits of the story, the acting, the writing, the content that's on there, then fair game. You know, I'll listen to your critical analysis and give you at least that much rope to hang yourself if I think that you're going to do it. But this backlash gatekeep bullshit has to stop. Like it really.
You know who I really like in this show, whose acting is just a lot better than I thought it would be in English?
Squid Games guy.
Yeah, Lee Jung-jae. That guy. I really like him. He
learned English for this role.
Yeah. But he's a huge Star Wars fan, by the way. Like, he's a huge Star Wars geek.
I was blown away by him. I was actually blown away by the little girl. I thought she did a great job, the young Jedi. I really...
Oh, yeah, like the Padawan.
Yeah, the Padawan. The other guy doesn't bother me either. He's just... I know that there's something off with him. Right. And either he's just always going down the wrong path, which I find funny, but it's giving me a little bit of comic relief inadvertently with how these characters are stood up in front of us. And then the least interesting that I find so far is
the Padawan. You know who? Sorry, I need to stop you because before we move on, the Padawan. You know who plays her, right?
No.
Her real name is Daphne Keane Fernandez. She is a British and Spanish actress, best known for playing mutant Laura Kinney, X-23 in Logan.
Oh, wow. Good for her. Oh, that's great. That's a big role. Like that one, the original, and now this, to be in the Star Wars, like to be in two very big franchises like that.
Yep.
That's great. The character that I find least compelling is probably the good bad guy. That duality of the twins.
Amanda.
I need more character development to really define how I want to, if I think that her character is that interesting. It is interesting that the bad part, the twin sister, wants to kill Jedi without weapons. Like that was interesting. And I also found it interesting too, that Jedi that was meditating for like 30 years.
Yeah. He seemed so out of place. I don't know. It's like,
yeah,
it seemed fake. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Just everything about that dude was just like weird.
But this is the funny thing. All right. A lot of people complain about Last Jedi introducing new ideas. And you have to remember, Empire Strikes Back, hey man, Luke summons a lightsaber to his hand. That wasn't in Star Wars, that you could move objects like that, really. It was more so about feeling the Force and, all that being in the flow. And then they started introducing new ideas. Didn't object back then. And that's where I'm trying to shoot at the Acolyte from, is that they're introducing some new cool shit. And I'm trying to welcome it instead of fight it and try to get into that mode of, well, Star Wars doesn't tolerate that. Well, it's canon, and they make what canon is.
And here's the thing. The Acolyte takes place during the High Republic, which is very different from the Republic or the New Republic or the Empire, which means that technology, force powers, lessons can be lost in those 100 years between movies.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? Like, what happens if we're looking at a time where the Jedi were more enlightened because they seemed to be more political in the prequels, and this is a more enlightened age, and they're more in tune with the connection to the Force.
I will say this, Phil. I feel like this is now like there's going to be a lot to be said about the Jedi, because we've always said they're fucking dicks. These people, these Jedis, and this show 100, at least the first 2 episodes, have shown us, holy shit, how corrupt they are.
Yes.
Like 100%. They're full of shit.
They are full of shit, but there's so many of them that believe their own shit.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is in the prequels too. The thing that I find most interesting about the Acolyte is that Dave Filoni has a definition of when the Mando universe ends. And I think Star Wars has played a lot of games in that time frame of pre-Empire, post-Empire. This, to me, signals a really big change in Star Wars in terms of, I think there's going to be a lot of future content that examines this time frame because it's freeing of those shackles that we talk about.
That's exactly what I mean. It's a free from the Skywalkers, the Palpatines,
and you get to play around with those themes that emerge in the prequels and flesh them out even better, because let's face it, Mando and whatnot is that justification of the Emperor, right? We're into the cloning and all that. We know that we're just getting subtly hit, and I'm not complaining about it. It's just them trying to make the canon more continuous, right? So retcon
in its own way without actually completely retconning stuff.
Yeah, it's the inadvertent retcon. It's the most passive aggressive retcon I've seen.
Yeah, look, point is, episode 1 and 2, good start to the Acolyte. I'm liking this. It's different. Yes. It's Skywalker free.
Breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air. And it also makes me hopeful for Skeleton Crew, like you were pointing out. You know, the show that could be the show that gets Trekkie fans into it, right? Because it's the most like a Star Trek in premise. So that promises. I like this less is more from Disney Plus. That's for sure.
Yep. I do too. All right, let's quickly talk about Sony's State of Play Xbox Games Showcase. Where do you want to start?
I'm going to bring up one other thing. Summer Game Fest was last Friday, I think. I don't know. I didn't even watch it. But Esquire ran a really interesting article that's essentially that production is a pay-to-play production. It's a games as a service show. the prices to get ads on there are so outrageous. This is how this guy, the host, is making $9 million a year. Because to place your ad and to get him to announce it will cost you like $500,000. It's like Super Bowl money to get into this Summer Game Fest. I found the Summer Game Fest was a bit of a slow slog for what I saw of it, the hype that came out of it. I thought the Sony State of Play was rather subdued as well. There was some nice stuff in there, but I didn't get the feeling that anyone was blown away or surprised. And then the Xbox One seems to have really stolen the thunder, which good for Xbox. They need a win. They need a win.
They do need a win. Let's start with Sony State of Play. Concord. We saw Concord. What that's all about. Looks okay.
Yeah. It's Isn't that another shooter?
Yeah. Multiplayer. Firewalk Studios, blah, 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 blah. God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC, but yet it won't be available everywhere. Womp, womp.
69 countries, baby.
Yeah.
I think Concord's already being canceled.
Really?
I'm not kidding. I think the reaction to it was so underwhelming that the developer canceled it. I thought that was the news. Like 2 days later.
We have Marvel Rivals coming to PlayStation 5.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, that looked good. But it's just Monster Hunter Part 3000.
You know what doesn't look good?
What's that?
You know what a lot of people have been waiting for so long? Wanting this game? Begging for this game?
Oh, no.
They finally saw it, and everyone said, what the fuck? And that's Silent Hill 2 remake.
Silent Hill 2. Why not? Well, people really like that franchise.
October 8th. And people don't want to play it. Or aren't going to want to play it. Just watch this. It's going to fun. Dynasty Warriors. We see Dynasty Warriors coming back. Path of Exile 2. Until Dawn Remastered. Where Minds Meet. Infinity Nikki. Ballad of Antara was announced. Alien. Rogue Incursion.
Yeah, I missed that one.
And then we have Behemoth. Those are the big things from the State of Play.
Like I say, it was underwhelming. It was like, I can't get excited about Dynasty Warriors and stuff like that. Like, I know that there's a fan base that loves those games, and I'm not trying to say don't make the game. Concord isn't canceled, by the way. I'm mistaken. But I'm just not into especially on a console, like doing turn-based strategy games and whatnot. But hey, I know there's an audience for it. Good on you. Go play your games, buy them up, support them. And, I'm not trying to take away from any developer or anything. Like, you got to make your games. So it's just weird. I just found that a lot of the stuff missed. Now, I will say, I can't wait until you get to the list on Xbox.
Is that my segue to continue? I thought you were still talking. All right, let's talk about Xbox. So I'm gonna go down the list. I'm gonna say what systems are gonna be released, because we did learn a lot of the games are gonna be released on PS4, even PS5. Yeah. All right, so let's start with one of the big ones, one that I don't give a shit about, but a lot of people do. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will release on PS5, PS4, October 25th.
Well, hopefully it is going to release on Game Pass, which means that if you do have Game Pass, it's included in your price, your subscription, as long as they don't change Game Pass between now and then. But the biggest thing, which is possible.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a scuttlebutt. But even that being said, if they actually give us a campaign mode, I may play that game, the campaign. I'm not going to do the online multiplayer crap, But if you give me free access to a 10-hour campaign, I'll probably download that behemoth of shit and play it, and then delete that thing and get the space back. So, Treyarch, do the right thing. Make an actual game that isn't just online bullshit.
Right. I love the campaigns in Call of Duty for the most part.
Yeah. They were cinematic. They were it was like playing a movie, you know what I mean? It's like
Modern Warfare 2.
Smaller version of Uncharted type thing. It was great. You just went and killed shit.
Doom, The Dark Ages will release on PS5 as well in 2025.
Yeah, it looked good. Not gonna lie, but it looked like every other Doom. Like the shield was cool, but I don't know how many demons I can kill, and it really felt to me like it looked good, but the way that they focused in on the guy was like, it was like a failed Master Chief portrayal. Just he was off to me. I'm like, oh, I don't know that I want to see that, but.
I like that they're taking Doom to a different time.
Yeah, it is good to play around with that IP, right? And experiment. Go ahead, by all means. And you know what? Kids are going to love it, and the music and everything. It's just always a fun time. Put it on Switch. Yeah, have fun.
It won't run. Dragon Age, The Veilguard, coming to PS5 as well in 2024.
That looked like ass to me.
I know, same here.
I'm sorry, but I swear it had the same graphics as PS2 did. Like, it was just so cartoony that I was just, oh, come on. Like, but if that's where they need to go with it, because goodness knows the franchise hasn't really rocked the world. So
Fallout 76 Skyline Valley update coming June 12th.
Well, they got to cash in on the video game somehow. But it's on Game Pass.
On the show.
It's on Game Pass. Oh yeah, sorry, on the show. Yeah, I thought that was very timely. I've heard 76 is good. I've downloaded it. It's hard. It's online. It's a little too online for my likes. Me no likey.
That's my issue.
No liking it. Yeah, but I know that they released a lot of patches to make it more NPCs and whatnot. I do appreciate that, but it's just a little bit too, somebody's going to come and fuck with your shit. Don't like that. Right.
A turn-based RPG called Claire Obscure Expedition 33 coming to PlayStation 5 as well in 2025.
Now, I know I said I don't like turn-based games. That story looked really interesting. Really interesting. I like the premise of it. So good on the creatives for doing that, because that might be something that if it goes to Game Pass for cheap, or, Game Pass for a couple months, I might just download it and peruse it a little bit. Not going to lie.
A game I've never played. I kind of want to play. But still haven't. Sea of Thieves, Season 13, July 25th.
Yeah. I've installed it a couple times. Played around with it. It's a little too cartoony for me. But I don't like pirate shit. But that being said, I did finish Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I enjoyed it very much. That was the last Ubisoft game where I went, wow. And just really felt like I could sing a shanty. No, they always fuck me. Just getting tired of it.
Flinthawk, The Siege of Dawn will be released on July 18th for Xbox and PlayStation 5.
And I wasn't blown away by this, but hey, I'm sure the audience it has or will cultivate will enjoy what gameplay they get out of it. It's somewhat forgettable for me.
Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred expansion will release in October 2024.
Now, I love me some Blizzard cutscenes, right? The little vignettes that they put together. Fantastic. That one scared the shit right out of me. It was really good. And Diablo 4 overall scares the living crap out of me. Not going to lie. It's very unsettling. I've downloaded Diablo 4 because it's on Game Pass. I've played a little bit of it. I'm not going to go into this Battle Pass season crap. That stuff is just beyond the pale for me, but good on those who are willing to suffer through it and enjoy it. So,
I just need a good campaign, a good one-person story game. Like, that's all I ask for nowadays.
I just wish I had a friend who was playing Diablo 4 on the same platform as me. I think I bought it on the Xbox, not because, like, the enjoyment is better on the PS5. The only reason why I bought it on the Xbox is because I figured that they were going to sabotage the PS5 version.
And well,
yeah. So I'm like, I'll do it. And Xbox had the sale. So I was like, and then it came to Game Pass, and I'm like, oh, damn it.
A new narrative game from the team behind The Artful Escape called Mixtape, coming to PS5 in 2025.
Sign me up. I nearly cried watching that. I loved it. Loved it. The music. Annapurna Games makes some of the most fun games for me. I enjoyed that music one that they did before. Man, it's just instant achievement unlocks and a lot of fun gameplay. Just a lot of fun gameplay. Is that coming out to PS5? Yeah, the art style was great.
Is that coming? Yeah,
I know this is a minnow game, but I really do enjoy this production studio's video games. Now, their misses are misses for me, but I think it's just because it missed my demo. But man, that one looked good. Old man Phil approved.
The Elder Scrolls Online Gold Road Collection will release on June 18th.
I'm so confused about the Elder Scrolls, but sure. It was confusing to me. Play the Elder Scrolls Online.
Double Exposure sees the return of Max Caulfield on PS5 as well, October 29th.
One of Square Enix's best as far as I'm concerned. Like, I know they put a lot of work into their Final Fantasy and everything, and they're great, but this is a different type of genre, and I love it.
That first Life is Strange is a fucking great game.
Yes. Outstanding. Second one lost me a little bit, but
just came out of nowhere.
Yep. That one was like a sledgehammer to the head. And the great thing was it was so cheap and it got free really fast. It went to everybody and everybody could play it. It was just the smartest, most brilliant plan I've ever seen. Well done, game.
I know I just complained that I want a game where I can play by myself, but this next game looks really good. And it's a multiplayer game headed to PS5 as well in 2025 called Mecha Break.
That was interesting. I will say that game did kind of, I thought it was a Gundam game. Like, I was just like, damn.
And it looks like they all look like Gundams. If you take a look at this, but like, it just looks so good. This just looks so good. You know what? It looks more like Macross than Gundam. Robotech.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thoughts, man. Like, I was watching a YouTube video. This is what I end up doing. You sit there and you list off all these great shows. What does Phil do? Watches a 2-hour show on the Macross saga, and what a mess it was in terms of the rights and everything. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, the whole rights thing is fucking insane. This is why we haven't seen Robotech or Macross here in North America, because that company, whatever, Golden, whatever it's fucking called, still hold the rights somehow.
Yeah, it's such a mess. And like, the actual show wasn't meant to be the show that we got. It's like 3 different shows in Japan that were cobbled together. It's just
Harmony Gold.
Yeah, Harmony Gold. But they cobbled it together. So like season 2 ended up being Rick and Lisa's daughter, but it was its own show.
Yeah.
Completely different storyline in Japan.
Yeah, no, Robotech was just season 1 of
Macross saga. Yep. I know.
So so the whole fight between Big West and Harmony Gold is done. So shit will start finally coming out, but like
yeah, they really
Harmony Gold held it hostage. But Phil, this just goes to show you how that's what rights are for, right? Like this is the whole Marvel thing.
Yep. It's kind of crazy. I will say that. Now I have all the DVDs of the show. season 1, 2, and 3. I've watched a bunch of them, but yeah, it's too bad they really missed out on the golden goose. I think that they got as many golden eggs out of it as they could, but they left a lot on the table.
Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like set in the Ming Dynasty.
Yeah, I wasn't into that. What was the one? I think I glossed it over. Was it Flintlock? What was the one with like the stop motion animation?
Flintlock.
I apologize. That looked really interesting. I'll retcon that. But I don't know that I'll pick it up. If it's on Game Pass, I'll play it.
Yep. All right. We have Atomfall, a survival game headed to PS5 and PS4 in 2025.
Yeah. This is a jaggy part for me. Yeah, the World
Phil's
of Warcraft,
favorite,
right?
Assassin's Creed Shadows got a gameplay trailer.
Oh, yay. To be honest, that one does look interesting to me. I do like the idea of Afro Samurai, right? Because that's what the Afro Samurai cartoon was based off of, the fact that there was a black guy who actually became a samurai in feudal Japan. So I am curious a little bit, especially after Shogun. That one, I think it'll pale in comparison to Ghost of Tsushima, but who knows?
That's the thing, right? Like that to me, that's the bar. Ghost of Tsushima is the bar.
Yeah, and like I couldn't even bring myself to play Ronin because I was like, Ghost of Tsushima is just, it's gonna be so outclassing that game.
The winner for me, and this is why I'm leaving it to last, was the trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Yes, the remake.
The remake of 3.
Looks good. And it's all the original voice casting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice. It'll be fun to visit that. Well, that isn't the last one. You got 2, 3 more.
What else do I have?
They announced expansion for World of Warcraft on PC, which we don't really care about.
Here's.
They gave the trailer for gameplay of Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
And I think they closed off, or was Indiana Jones closing off, but the second last or whatever. I got the order maybe wrong. Fable. Which, that one, the interesting part about that game is that it's Playground Games making it. The people who make Forza Horizon 5 and Motorsport. And I don't know that they've ever made a game like this before. And there's a lot. I don't know if you remember Fable on the Xbox.
Oh, I remember Fable. I remember Fable real well.
Yeah. There was a lot of shenanigans with the last Fable because you could engage in activities that were extracurricular with other members of the same sex, etc., and it would broadcast it across your friends list. What kind of crap you were doing it with him.
I remember this conversation we had once.
Yeah, I would go into work and some guy's like, "Hey, you were doing it with a dude last night." I'm like, I don't know, this is a video game. Like, I got an achievement for that.
Oh man.
I am a bit of an achievement chaser, and I use it to compel me to do things, and that's why there's certain people who friend me on Xbox, and they're like, "What the hell do you do?" Because my brother and I got into competition. He stopped at about 5,000 gamer points. I'm still going at like 60,000 right now. But yeah.
Yep. There we go, man. There we go.
The questionable ethics of oversharing in a game.
Yeah. I love it, man. Love it. So yeah, what was okay for you from everything that we talked about, both PlayStation and Xbox, Sony and Microsoft? What was the biggest release for you? Mine was Metal Gear.
Mine would have to be, like I say, a toss up between Mixtape. Well, Mixtape would be my biggest I didn't know it was coming, and I'm looking so forward to it. I was so disappointed when I saw 2025 because that studio has this habit of it'll be out next Tuesday. The one that I think I'm most excited about for little kid me is the Indiana Jones game.
I can see that. Remember
just because it looked so good.
And they've done some good work with Indiana Jones IP in the past.
Yeah, they have. There's books. There's the shows, Young Indiana Jones. There's a lot of stuff. But the biggest thing was I know that 13-year-old me going in to watch the Temple of Doom would have lost his shit over that video game. And it looks solid. Doesn't look like it's going to be perfect, but it's got that feel of Uncharted and Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
the modern stuff, and Jedi Survivor.
You mean Tomb Raider, the most popular character in all the video games according to BAFTA?
Yes, exactly. Oh man, it's a crazy thing. Well, you know what? If you want to have a comment on what we've discussed, you can reach us at our website www.itscanonpodcast.com. You can track us down on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Anywhere where you can find any of those platforms, and Facebook, you'll find us at It's Canon Podcast. And there's no .com. It's just It's Canon Podcast. Email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. And you can subscribe anywhere where you find it. You found this. Please tell your friends. Leave a like and subscribe. And maybe some comments about what it is that you think about some of the stuff that's going on in the geek world. And thanks for taking your time to tune into the show.
Exactly. Just a reminder, we will be back in 2 weeks, both live on X, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everything, whatever it is, YouTube, all of it, all the above. And also on your favorite podcasting app, just search for It's Canon Podcast.
I will add one more thing before you close it out. I want to let everyone know that our friends patreon.com/SNME radio, they do a lot of talk about geek stuff and wrestling, including with your main man, Boris. So you can head over there and subscribe if you'd like and take a listen.
Thank you. So we'll be back in 2 weeks talking all things video games, books, movies, Legos, Star Wars. We'll continue chatting Acolyte. We'll continue chatting what we're watching, what we're playing, what we're reading, and so much more here on the It's Canon Podcast. And Phil, do you know what the best part of it all is?
I heard someone tell me that it's all in canon.
That's right, it's all in canon. Thanks again for listening. He's Phil. I'm Boris. Until next time, good night.